don't even know where to start because it feels so good to be venting through the like anguish that I feel as a reaction to what's happening. But inevitably, that's always used as reactive abuse to point the finger at me and make more claims about my mental health. When in fact, everybody knows that this kind of abuse and isolation isn't sustainable emotionally all the time. Nobody can sustain perfect emotional health while they've had every single thing in their life taken from them and their rights removed against the law. And this snowballing, it's like a perpetuation of everybody signing on to what they thought was the perfect excuse to be a vigilante. When they were hired, they were profiled psychologically and they were given a narrative that would provoke them into a state of wanting to hunt me, essentially. You know, these consulting firms are sophisticated. That's why they have to sign these NDAs and they can't talk to other people except for maybe their own groups when they're out in the field following me. You know, they're all told a different story about me. One that will rile something in them. Usually it's a psychological disconnect from something that's unprocessed in them. Mother issues, primarily. And the communal hate towards women. And you line that up with alluding to me being a suspect of child abuse. It's so fucking sad. It's past insulting that I've been the only person involved in my case surrounding me and my kids that's ever done anything that's been in line with the law. And if I get on here and I tell the truth and I'm emotionally charged because I'm so fucking done, the reaction of the people involved, because they're stuck and they know what they're doing is shameful and wrong, is to exert their projections even more on me. Now they're doing this thing where they're blocking me in parking lots because they're trying to invoke hypervigilance to get me in accidents, essentially. Everywhere I go, they will always have two people driving next to me if that's the case. Any opportunity, they're choreographed to pull out in front of me, so I have to toe on the brakes. They tail me with the brights on constantly. I've been chased at night on the freeway while the cars are in perfect sort of triangular alignment around me so that I can't move. You know, I mean, that's what they do. Now in parking lots, they have people park right next to me, or they'll leave a spot open, and then the two spots next to it, the people are sitting in their driver's seat just waiting with their phones ready. Then they'll start facing their phones towards me and smearing and snickering. They're told to do that to provoke me. And then suddenly when I'm angry and I've just had enough and want to get the fuck out of there because these people are sick. I mean, they're externalizing their self-hatred to a degree that's just toxic. It's unbearable to be around. Because I don't feel bad about myself at all. I'm innocent. Through and through. All the way. But it's almost like a manifestation of their own fucking self-hatred is so profoundly projected in my way as a sport is intolerable. So they have been having these people, these contractors, box me in. They'll have someone walk by with their phone faced at me. They make sure that I know. They tell them how to do these things so that I can register it, so that I know that I'm being abused and it's happening to me, but no one else is going to help me. And there will always be deniable plausibility, because when something's so extreme like this, the human brain can't process it, so that people are always apt to just dismiss it, which is the opposite of what people need when they're enduring extreme abuse like this. This is modern day slavery. It is open air slavery and exploitation. I'm being trafficked. So they surround me with their phones and cameras, smear and snicker, and then they'll have someone pull out right behind me within feet and box me in. And if I'm flustered, I back into the person behind me, and it's happened twice. They never call me. There's damage to their cars. They never call me because the consulting firm pays them out. But they're putting me in a constant state of threat. What did that all lead up to? I couldn't stand the feeling of shaking and walking into this just sludge of self-hatred being projected at me. That the other day when I had to go and get food, I fucking drank. I drank that morning because I'm fucking defeated. And I don't drink that often. But that day I drank. I'm defeated. That's a sign for me that I'm giving up. Because I'm not going to commit suicide. I haven't been suicide since I was like 20 years old. Getting drunk where I blew like right over the limit. That's a sign of defeat. That's me putting up my white flag. You know, the people organizing this whole coup, you know, they've done it to hundreds, thousands of people. This is designed for whistleblowers. It's to, or high profile witnesses in cases. It's been researched and carried out. There was a phase about 10 years ago where they were carrying out this, what they call gang stalking. Now that's a high trigger word, so everybody in the medical community is brainwashed to believe that word is associated with people who are mentally ill, because they carried out the organization and the plans of these coups on homeless people and people who really did have mental illness issues, so that it will always be stigmatized. And then they did a documentary on the homeless people who were being abused by these elite organizations, working under the guise of as private investigators. Fucking bullshit. The investigation has never happened. There's only been a molding and a creation of little crumbs to sort of give people suspect that mom is an abuser. Oh, you mean when my kids and I were drugged? When we were drugged and we were assaulted? I don't know if this is a fact, but I'm assuming that they staged things to make it look like I was the abuser. And when we woke up and I had bruises all over my hands, and I was injured in my rear because I was raped, and my children were showing the same signs, my only fear is that they are trying to frame me. I don't care that they raped me, but they are trying to frame me. Because I'm the only thing that these boys have to get out of this. And that started happening, or at least I started to finally acknowledge or accept that's really what's behind all of this. That their father and his friends, who are responsible for a pretty elaborate child exploitation online racketeering network, where they use the social media profiles and the legal regulations to protect the content of the creator over the rights of the people being filmed. and I'll just quickly get into this. Cody, the programmer, he's the one that moved in across from me and was the first person to fully jailbreak my devices and take over my electronics and accounts. Tony has always been on my phone, but he's used, you know, the old school, the simple hacking tools. When Cody came along in 2021, 22, late 2021, and he used a metal pipe on his window to war drive my Wi-Fi, which it picks up the Wi-Fi signal, and then he can jailbreak that, and then he can, once he gets into the Wi-Fi, then he can jailbreak every account that and device that's connected to the Wi-Fi. Anyways, he was the one that created the system where they used domains. I don't even know how it fully works because they're using it on me, and I'm just getting pieces and clues through the analytics on my phone and resetting and breaking open the shells that they put on to hide what they're doing to me. They're using platforms like developer app platforms to and DNS root certificates to run like a I don't really even understand it. To whatever, they're using these pathways and these platforms, and then they're hacking other people's social media accounts and attaching hidden overseeing accounts that give them full control over that person's account, and then they use their accounts to live stream to their and mind you, they hijack the accounts. Once they hijack an account, the original creator can't get back into it. This is what they've done to all my accounts. So basically they're just framing everybody when they use their accounts, and then they're running child exploitation live streams, and they have a calendar where they send out the events and to their subscribers and tell them which platform it's going to be on: YouTube, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. All of them have regulations that protect the content so that the developers who created these platforms don't have legal liability for what's being streamed, or the fact that there are victims as young as 2 and 3 years old who are being tortured. This is torture-based child pornography. That's the kind of content that over the last 8 years that I have been awakened to and found out and now know irrefutably that my kid's father is trained as a professional child torturer and exploitation curator. He creates content for high-profile people in and around our government, in our communities, who happen to be in these brotherhoods that hold them to an oath where they all have to engage in these blackmail acts because they need to be submissive to the cult over their own needs. And eventually, through all their rituals, they, even if someone isn't a pedophile, they will break them down through their rituals to eventually become someone who is addicted to it, needs it, and enjoys it. That's how sick this shit is. And that only happens to people who agree. It doesn't happen to victims who choose God and who choose the rights of these children and their dignity as a human being. Because I will never be a pedophile. I will never ever be someone who could engage in that shit. Except for under severe drugs and control. And guess what? My worst nightmare, things that I told years ago to a therapist that I now know was being paid out by people who are involved in these networks. See, I've been I was a victim of satanic ritual abuse as a child. My uncle was my groomer. He essentially did to me what my kid's dad did to my kids, except for my kid's dad also has the elite training to, be the one content creator for the Brotherhood. So these people have been around me for a long time. I had a therapist that I didn't know that was part of the occult or the Eastern Star, and she was tasked with finding out my weaknesses and my biggest fears. And my biggest fear ever is to be in a position where I was perpetuating children. And Tony got that information, and he designed his retaliation where that was at the heart. In fact, when he assaulted me and got me pregnant through coercion, his first move of psychological abuse or coercion was to make me feel like I was the perpetrator, that I was too sexual, and I triggered him into holding me down and sticking himself inside of me and finishing me without my consent while I froze. He made me feel like it was my fault because I was in my right mind while he was clearly a lunatic. and going off about his trauma and using his trauma as an excuse to fucking rape me. I mean, you think that would have been the sign, but I haven't experienced abuse by another person since I was a child. So being in my early 30s, that's a very jarring experience to encounter someone who is so broken and disturbed that their means of interacting and moving through the world is to exert control through projecting their guilt and their crimes and their characteristics onto other people and role reversing while they steal the identity and characteristics of that person. And that includes me. In fact, it doesn't just include me. I am my perpetrator's primary source. I'm his source. I'm his obsession. He's obsessed with me. And because I rejected him and saw right through him and how disturbed he was, he's made it his goal in life, which his goal in life to destroy me far exceeds anything that has to do with my sons. In fact, the relationship he has with my sons is secondary to his need to be a someone who climbs the ranks within these brotherhoods and in these racketeering circuits, because my children are a commodity. In fact, they're his product. What better way to have an indisposable product that makes you money and continues to bring you money that doesn't deteriorate, well, at least physically. Because I'm a modern day handmaid. My case was so strong and so profound in the exactness of the forensic evidence. I detailed every piece of evidence to the point where I could go into any police office and I could pull up anything that relates to how their jobs are supposed to be done, and I will show them the exact percentage of which, at what point an investigation needs to be mandated for every single report that was made in regards to my children and me. Because I don't make reports unless there's evidence. And the evidence has to meet a certain statute, 51% for children. And after being patronized for the first three years of my children's life and no one ever doing anything, on July 4th in 2021, after my kids had been taken from me in 2020, under the guise of just a flat out blatant lie saying that I had taken my sons to 12 sexual abuse forensic evaluations. Mind you, forensic evaluations cannot be done or ordered, or sorry, an appointment can't even be made by a parent. It has to be made by a police officer or a CPS agent. And I was being accused by CPS of taking my sons on my own volition to repeated sexual abuse, exposing them to sexual abuse evaluations over the course of 2 months. And this is this is in response to the fact that my son told me that he was raped by his father when he was 3 years old. He spent the night, one of the first overnights he had with his father, and came home and told me that Daddy hurt him in the bottom and poured daddy juice on him. And the injuries to his bottom were in direct alignment with his claim. And his brother told me that Daddy hurts him and he isn't supposed to tell, and he was in the other room screaming while his brother was being hurt. My mom made a report to the Whidbey Island Police, and they deferred it to family court because that's a domestic matter. That's what they said. And the response, the professional response of the court, was to accuse me of taking them to 12 sexual abuse forensic evaluations. Mind you, the only way to get in a conviction of child rape is to have forensic evidence, which means you have to have a forensic evaluate of the children to gain forensic medical evidence, like specimen, DNA, or tears in the internally. But the only way to get those appointments are through police and CPS. So it doesn't make any sense to me that the court would allow CPS to accuse me of taking them by myself. Well, and there's no world where that could ever happen. Let alone the fact there's only 2 forensic evaluation offices, like in the greater, Seattle, Everett, Tacoma area. I mean, it was just a blatant lie, and that's the way our case has been. These lies are so ridiculous and just so far from the truth in comparison and paralleled to the amount of forensic evidence that was just very easily and carefully, methodically displayed in my case. And so the judge that was deciding the protection order when I tried to protect my children after they were raped by their father, mind you, he raped them because I had told him, because I had reported his work to DCF because he was abusing me financially. So when he was deciding that he didn't have to abide by the legal standards in court, and when I was trying to get him to pay for childcare because he was legally liable for it, he emailed the judge, which you can't do. You're not allowed to do that, and gave the judge a sob story about how hard he worked and he can't afford to pay. And he told her where he worked, and so I called his work and I reported his work to DCF so I could get child support, so I could fucking take care of my kids. His response was to rape my kids and make sure that I knew what he did to me by way of assaulting and hurting my babies. That's how this man has abused me for 8 years. That's how he's abused me. He's abused me in other ways. I've been drugged and exploited in these racketeering live streams that they have. They use a leaderboard to have their subscribers bet in real time, get the perpetrators to torture the unconscious victims. I mean, anybody in these occult circles can, they can, well, I don't know what they're buying or selling somebody's name. Some girl rejected them. They can sell off this girl to the racketeering group, and these men, I call them coyotes because that's the name of men who handle the product in human trafficking. These coyotes spend about 2 weeks following the victim around, learning their patterns. They break in at night, copy their key, because they have a whole, their connections to, a fucking locksmith. Just, right, that's how a cartel works. Yeah, cartel affiliated. So they get the copies of the keys, and then they wear, and mind you, this is not sci-fi, this isn't conspiracy, this is on the CIA government website. There are suits that people can wear that cloak them, that are invisible to the naked eye. Except for in the dark, you can see the outline of them. So they wear these cloaks and hide out in these victims' houses. And then they also put hydroxychloroquine, which is the odorless, invisible gas. They have these canisters, kind of like a whippet, or a nitrogen canister, except for they're bigger. They put them in the pipes or in the airways. And then once they time the victims, and once the victims are knocked unconscious, them and their boys come in and gang rape and live stream the gang rape, and then proceed to give the victim a drug that wakes them up a little bit, and then give them other drugs that put them in a state of unconscious hypnosis, so that they can humiliate and torture the victim for their subscribers who are paying and bidding on the torture acts. Yeah, I've been a victim of that now for years. And they use the platform racketeering system that Cody created, who's the engineer. Cody's the engineer. Tony, I believe, is he's the videography. Nelson is probably the admin, organizer, and Tony's the talented, highly trained child torture rapist who's been trained to torture and split the consciousness of young children for the means of the group. He was raised in Santeria, which is the same thing as satanic abuse. He was abused like that and split very young. He had no love in his life. He is a born psychopath and a made sociopath. And mind you, these people engage in ritual sacrifices. So he is literally a murderer and a child serial rapist. That is the man who has custody of my children. I could go on for hours about everything that he did to my kids, overtly, to control me. By 2022, a year later, he had exerted so much abuse on my children, and then used his network connections through CPS to have them abuse me with all of their false reports. If I said anything about the abuse that got back to CPS, CPS would call him, he would file a protection order, I would be taken back to court. He would use his connections to the judges would put me under constraints, force me into evaluation after evaluation, which every single one I would pass, where they said I had PTSD, I was being abused psychologically, and the concern for their kids is overwhelming. Everyone. They then forced me, and mind you, this documented, having my kids come into my care with just being battered, and it's all documented. There's pictures, there's witnesses, there's statements from the kids, and I'm being forced. I'm getting served protection order after protection order, and then being forced into having to go through fucking hoop after hoop and pay thousands and thousands just to fight for these little boys who are being brutalized. Because when people know the truth, when they know what has happened to me, what is happening to me, the guilt and the shame for participating in this fucking operation is too much. These aren't the people that will ever do anything that's brave or justice oriented. So they just double down because they got to protect themselves, because they're now implicated in horrific crimes against my children and me. And after years of this, how many people are involved? They're all collectively invested in making sure that I am not heard, because they all did this to themselves. And when they hire a new one, I mean, they just get more and more sick and disturbed. Today, this woman with no teeth locked me, and I was parked at a park. I try to go for walks in the park because sometimes I can get peace, because I am so systematically fucking harassed and chased. The last week, they have been sending this, like, I think it's like 24 cars. It's the same cars, just back and forth on the highway, wherever I am, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you took a satellite, and I know the police stations know what's going on, because the traffic patterns are extremely abnormal. Everywhere I go, I am, 2 dozen, 3 dozen people are following me. I can't go anywhere without being fully surrounded in traffic and by people with little bags that cross the bags, and their hats and their glasses and their Snickers and their sneers and their phones held up facing me. No one fucking holds their phone up facing other people to watch something or read something. It's not a fucking coincidence. I'm not fucking paranoid. Please, anybody who's gonna get involved in my case and is assigned to me, if anybody actually abides by the law after hearing all of what I've had to say, spare me the spare me the fucking patronizing. There's no room for conjecture. I know you guys know what's going on. You could get access to the satellites and see the patterns of all these cars just fucking constantly swarming me. Anyways, this woman with no teeth and her boyfriend, I'm parked way over in this park with nobody around me. There's tons of spots. They just straight up park behind me and block me in. And I'm standing right there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing that? And they mumble and they say something, and they just fucking blocked me in. Because mind you, something's going on. Oh, they wanted to keep me there, right? Because they had sent someone out to hack my phone, because I reset my phone, which gave me a very brief moment of autonomy over my system. And I saw what got exposed are the root certificates and the ID numbers and the authentication numbers, which if looked up by the police, it will expose exactly who the person is who is signed into the certificates. And that's the director, so that's the person on the top. I mean, if there was an officer that actually did his job and abided by the law, tomorrow we could go into the court office and file a protection order and get a subpoena to find out who the fuck this person is on my phone, because it's right there. I have the evidence, and I have the IP addresses. The only reason they think they're getting away with the IP addresses is because I know that the discussions have already been had. Like, what deniable plausibility is around some of the evidence that has gotten to the police? Because, I've been subjugated the entire time, so I don't even know what they have. If the IP addresses are near my house and above me, then they can just say it's me and my phone and my shit, right? So they ignored that one. Well, this one they can't ignore. This one they fucking can't ignore. So what happened after that? They fucking changed my passcode, not my password, my passcode, and locked me out on my phone. Now I can't use my phone. Oh, so they sent this guy to real-time hack me. So I'm taking a walk in the woods. I have a video of him too, and I'm gonna post it. And he's sitting there, and he was trained to do this job to, kick me out and put me under the false profile so that they are maintaining their slavery over me. Because I am a slave. There's nothing about my story and my case and my experiences that is explained or categorized in any other fashion. I am a slave. I am a modern day slave. And I'm enslaved to a community that it collectively is agreeing to completely throw out my rights as a human being. My value doesn't matter. My value as a human being doesn't matter. They all fucking want me dead. Why? Because because collectively exposing the unbelievable, egregious, unthinkable crimes of some of the people who at the core started this and are involved, my primary perpetrator, his clients, and his associates, the value of their racketeering network, they believe, is more profitable and is worth far more than my life, my children's life, and the other victims' lives. So I have very little friendships because I no longer will allow myself to be in a relationship with someone who prioritizes their fucking bullshit. So I was gonna go to a church group tonight, and mind you, I'm telling her some really egregious stuff, and she has no response. I mean, this is my life. It's not really her problem. She just says she'll pray for me. That's how everybody treats it. It's my problem. I'm being enslaved openly in front of everybody, and it's just my problem. It's my problem. I'm being drugged and assaulted while I'm unconscious. And there's proof of that because there's footage of it. And there's pathways of the live exploitation streams. Which, mind you, they are simultaneously trying to make this trail that somehow leads back to the scapegoating of me, because they plan to overdose me. They want to get me in such a state of constant stress and PTSD that I'm going to go back to using drugs all the time. Yeah, I have relapsed. I'm not a big drug user, but I do things to survive and stay alive. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Some of the things that I've had to do were a gift for me to stay alive. Because there's nowhere out. There's nobody to help. And I value myself because I'm a mother to two very, very special little boys. And when you listen to what I have to say and you actually meet their father, he is the most unassuming person you will ever meet. When you first meet him, he's kind and humble and just kind of someone, kind of a dork in his own world. He seems warm. The connection that he has. He's a DID. He's got multiple personality. There are parts of that man that are still human. That he is, fostered that connection with that part of himself with my children, and that's his public self. Of course, he doesn't have any real relationships except for the ones in the occult circles and his handlers, his mother / lover / whatever the fuck she is, this woman Janet, who's the one that recruited him when he was 17 because he showed signs of pretty extreme psychopathology, and he's also a sex worker, and he was also guilty. He had a sex crime. He was a fucking whatever, the thing you get when you're guilty or you've been convicted of sexual crimes. He got that expunged because the people who recruited him decided that he would be the perfect candidate to train to make content to be used to blackmail and hold accountable some of the most elite group members. That's why Tony holds value, and he soared in the ranks of his little fucking weirdo circles because he enslaved me. He enslaved me. He bought rights to me and enslaved me by impregnating me. He told me that there was a 80% chance I would get pregnant because we have the same blood types. And he told me this after he said, well, I apologized to him. He wouldn't work with me to have a plan after the boys were born. He wouldn't do a schedule with me, nothing. He wouldn't agree to anything. He wouldn't help me. But of course, he was their father, and he was going to walk around like he could see them whenever he wanted. So I thought, I'll use the tactics that psychopaths need, and I apologized that I didn't want to be in a relationship with him. And he said, well, I have to apologize to you too. I got you pregnant on purpose because you said you didn't want to be with me. That's what he said. But the reality, it was more about he pre-planned it. He fucking tracked my cycle. He knew my blood type. He told me there was an 80% chance that the pregnancy was going to stick. And guess what? Twins. This man bought me. I'm a pretty well-known victim of these occult circles. I was highly prized as a child. I had some abilities that they put on a pedestal and they exploited. I was trained to be a specialized victim for some pretty elite people. And I've spent years recovering from that. And it doesn't affect me because trauma is healable. When you grieve it, when you have the courage to be a human and you rely on the Creator and God and the love of people who have humanity in their hearts, you can grieve trauma and get through it. I don't have PTSD from the past. I have PTSD from continually being enslaved to this day. See, my voice holds value because there's weight in the truth. It has a frequency. And people who are fractured and possessed by evil forces, whether it be psychologically bound or physically, they can't feel those frequencies. Those frequencies only stand as one thing, a threat to their existences. They live in these marred, fractured internal worlds that at all costs, at the center, is to protect the extremely abused child inside themselves that never grew up and blinded from the realities of their own victimization. So the complex personalities developed to hide the truth from their inner self doesn't allow them to live in this world with any real connection to what's true, what's real, what's authentic, what a connection is. And because they can't do it, because they're not brave, because they're weak human beings that chose to abuse and maintain control over other people so they didn't have to fucking feel. And it's not about feeling their victimization at this point. It's about not feeling the weight of their crimes. That's why they do these rituals and they're summoning these demons. I mean, this is them. This is the shit that they say and they do. And they drink the blood. It's all fucking designed to continuously cover up for the crimes that they repeatedly commit against innocent people. So when that blood, when the shipments of blood and the children are taken away from these traffickers, there's nothing that's going to be left to satiate and cover up and numb the weight of the guilt that they are carrying. And that's the same thing with this organized operation against me. I mean, there's been 3 or 4 different, groups that have been hired. Much more than that. They all end up quitting, and many of them have been arrested, and because they get to the point where they figure out that what they're doing is engaging. They have walked in freely, agreeing to traffic a woman who's not even only innocent, but has a voice that is clear, and an 8-year trail of well-documented forensic evidence to support. And instead of saying, hey, fuck, this was wrong, and figuring out that the NDA fucking holds no value at all. The NDA is designed to control all of these contractors so that they can't figure out, where the truth really lies. And it lies in the fact that they're all engaged openly in communal enslavement of one person. Well, this woman who blocked me in today, she and her boyfriend walked way across to go to the store while they blocked me in, like on the opposite side of the parking lot where no one was. I filmed the car and walked around it. And then she came out and she started accusing me of saying I was crazy and I needed to take. I didn't say anything to her except for, why the fuck did you block? What? That shit is so ridiculous. This woman was missing teeth and she was telling me, oh, you need to take your medication. Because I really actually made this video because I wanted to let you know how everybody's being lied to. They're taking snippets of my words and they've pushed me into a corner. And I've recorded, or a lot of the times I'm not recording myself, they're recording me. Where I'm telling them how evil they are, how sick they are, and that what awaits them in prison is tenfold what they did to me and my children. They take those and they splice them and they can augment my words. And they change the dialogue to make me sound like a lunatic. and they send that out to all their contractors. And then they have taken the pictures that I had to take of my children's injuries, some of them to their private parts, and showed it to them and told them that I was using these pictures to make money on the internet. That's what they said. That's what they told them. Cody hacked my phone in 2022, and under a private section that I had held all of their documented injuries, for the very sake that if I didn't, they wouldn't have a trail, a documented trail that they can refer to when they sue the fuck out of their father. And also because he tried to spin the abuse he committed on them every time. He would just straight up bring them to school and drop little seeds to make the teachers think that somehow I was behind the abuse. I mean, even times where I didn't even have them under my care. I mean, this man convinced my son that I was poisoning him because he was so sick from the abuse, so chronically sick that I had to give him Tylenol for his fevers. And he had brainwashed my son so severely that one of the times when he got sick, he refused to drink water because he was told that I was poisoning him. And he wouldn't eat. And so he fainted at school, and he shouldn't have been brought to school, but his father brought him to school with a temperature. The day after that, we all had gone to the doctor's office, and the doctor diagnosed him with a virus. He took him to school the next day. My child passed out, and this man told everybody that he thought that I was poisoning my kid. The EMTs came, the police came. And they took him to Children's, did a talk screen. I was barred from getting a talk screen after my child told me that Daddy had hurt him in the bottom and poured daddy juice on him. And following later that night, my other child said, Daddy gives us a pink drink that makes us sleepy. And they denied me getting a talk screen for them because, why? Because these spinning narratives of how mom's crazy and mentally unstable have always been there, and they have only been in the mouths of the people who are guilty. And in fact, there are very few people that are innocent bystanders. It's really just the people who know what the fuck is going on and the criminals. So everybody involved that's just so adamant about making sure that nobody hears my voice. All these fucking guys that are hired to follow me out to the woods so that they can fucking real time hack my phone and make sure that I'm still enslaved. They're doing it to fucking feed their own delusion. Because they think this whole thing that this whole storyline that they created, the last bout of men that were being paid to abuse me, which they were the worst. They were assigned to rape me and hold me hostage on a regular basis in my apartment in Seattle. I was held hostage for a month. They booted me out of all my bank accounts, stole all my money, booted me out of my mobile account, wouldn't allow me to use my phone because I collected too much evidence on that phone. So that's when they just shut me out of it. And every night they would sneak in through the windows as early as 5 o'clock and wait in my bedrooms. They knew I heard them. I would fucking yell at them. I would scream at them. And I would lock the outside of the doors and keep them in there. They were locked in the rooms in the apartment, and they would wait until I fall asleep, and they would rape me and live stream. Every fucking night for a month. I'm not kidding you. Every fucking night. That's why I got held hostage in my own home by these men. They have been arrested, by the way. They were worse than Tony with the hubris. They kept splicing some of my rants when they were in my room and I was screaming at them. And they had created one that made it sound like I was like in a consensual relationship with one of them. And they had twisted my words to make it sound like he had a little dick or something. And they proceeded to tell my neighbor, mind you, who knows me and knows what the fuck is going on. They told her that I have DID and don't remember that I was in a consensual relationship with this guy who barely spoke English, who was holding me hostage, and him and his friends were raping and live streaming me nightly. I have fucking DNA. I have had multiple rape kits done. There's DNA. This can't fucking be proven. There's footage from those live streams that they kept. I kept cameras all over that apartment. And there is a backpack full of evidence that will expose everything they did to me in the hands of some federal agents that are behind the scenes working on this case. Mind you, I can't get in touch with because I'd have no control over my devices. Even if I tried to call, they stole my phone, my last phone, so I don't have the number to the federal agent that I was in contact with. And he can't contact me because while investigating these people, he can't expose any part of the case because since they have control over my life. So I was advised to seek out local law enforcement to mitigate what's going on until this investigation could come to a close. But local law enforcement is involved in the investment of sabotaging me. And I think not all of them are on that side because some people are finding out that engaging in these crimes against me, since everybody's going to be held accountable, since it's all fucking documented. That's the thing about signing the NDA that also is a consent form to attach your phone number and your email to my phone and the platforms that are opened under my credentials. It's essentially a system where everybody is connected to me. And when that's reversed, I will have fucking exposed every single person and every act of criminal activity that they've done because it's all documented. So if the police officers in Freeland want to continue to implicate themselves, they should know by now. You guys should be smart enough to know that this ain't the time. That ship has sailed. If there was enough of that stage evidence that they've created and these like mock recordings, I think most of them aren't even me because they've paid people to impersonate me. They've stolen all my IDs and I did a background check and found 2 different ladies that were attached to my phone numbers and my email accounts. I was also accused by my bank of impersonating me. My storage unit, the woman who worked there told me that in order to get one of the carts, I had to give him an ID, and all I had was a passport at the time. That was a fucking lie. I knew it too. I just watched these people do this shit. She took my passport to one of these people so they could copy it, because they're engaging in egregious identity fraud. There's a trust with my name on it that I have no idea what it is. And after they were the attempt on my life, it showed up in my mailbox, and it was a trust under my name, and it said, "Thanks for updating your address. You can now access your funds after the date of April 2024. The life insurance policies, I mean, all the money that was made, because they've gotten so many people on board to rally this just war against me. What is the power that I hold telling the truth? I mean, these people are leaving comments exposing themselves as pedophiles. Literally, I'm not even joking, and I have evidence of it, saying that one guy said, "I put a GPS tracker in your transmission, and I'm getting information on you, and you're never gonna find it." Well, fucking just add it to the list, motherfucker. You fucking dumb ass loser with your picture and your name. Knowing that my page is all about me and my life, fundamentally. Sorry, there's some things that I can't say. What I stand against, the world of pedophilia and all these exploitation rings and trafficking rings that have worked diligently to shut me up, and yet I'm still standing, and my truth has never changed, because the truth is what's true. It doesn't change over time. But what does change is all the fucking shit that they're creating to try to make it look like I'm some kind of psychopath. They get validation, once in a while, when they put me in a position where they're fucking boxing me in every day and chasing me around, and then fucking setting up the officer to make sure that I get a DUI. I guess they did set me up, because I filmed this woman's car who fucking blocked me in because she said that I need to be on my meds. Bitch needs to get some fucking dental work done and an IQ. The women who bring their kids to traffic, mind you, filming a victim and then sharing the content for the enjoyment and monetary gain, that's trafficking. Everybody involved is criminally liable for trafficking and enslaving me. These women bring their children, and a lot of them are involved in these networks that are also trafficking other children. And yet they put themselves in this operation, which is, in the end, it's a snare. I'm the one thing that ties all these criminals together. And that NDA, well, it also stands as a consent to allow certain higher legal operations to legally surveil every word, and in fact, the entire online imprint of every single person involved. That's what the NDA really is. So they're signed in, they're connected to my phones, and they think that this is all about maintaining control over my devices and my accounts, yet everybody is strung into that system And yet there's a whole other legal entity that is reverse surveilling all of these criminals. And I'm at the center of it. Things are not always what they seem. So this message, I guess, is for the Freeland office. I would tread lightly, man. You know, I'm going to fucking make you guys uphold the law so that I can have an interview and I can present the evidence that's available right now that will expose the director. I'm going to uphold you. I'm going to make you fucking uphold my legal rights to have a face-to-face interview where I can present the evidence at hand and for an investigation to follow based on the burden of proof. And I wouldn't, get any more in line with this operation, because I promise you it will not end well. This has never really been about me. It's never been about fucking framing me, doing it doesn't take thousands of people to frame one person. Fucking wake up. I'm not that much of a threat. But what I signify, and maybe the people that are secretly behind me, those are the people that you need to worry about. And everybody's starting to figure out that my case ties an entire network. States, 3 states involved in an entire 5 states involved. It ties together every last one of these criminals, because they recruited all of them. And since they consigned they gave consent for us to surveil them through those NDAs that they signed when they jumped on board, agreeing to break the law in traffic one woman who's a victim. That's all I've ever been, is a victim and a fucking warrior. Fighting for my children and other little children who have been voiceless and abused like this. We're past the time in our in culture where gaslighting and saying conspiracy theorist to your victims works at all anymore, because there's too much fucking evidence that you guys are fucking guilty of mass crimes against humanity. So keep on fucking following me around. Meanwhile, the people who are investigating you have satellites on all of you. They're also listening to everything you say in your cars. And there's cameras likely in many of your cars filming you. Breaking the law, doing drugs in your cars while you fucking try to tell everybody I'm a drug addict. They only hire fucking idiots, lowlifes, and drug addicts. No smart person with an ounce of integrity would do this shit. And you know that because you hate yourself. And that's why you're so fucking adamant about overcoming me, because I'm the one thing that shows you exactly how worthless you really are. Worthless based on your works, what you've done in your life. And if I'm really the thing that takes away that magic that makes you not feel, well, I am the motherfucking owner of you. And you're my slave. Because in the end, you will not be able to escape the weight of your sins and the guilt that's going to be fucking overwhelming, persistent, and constant, so bad that it won't even matter that you're being raped and enslaved in the jail system. Because mind you, a lot of the prisoners know that there's going to be a big wave of pedophiles coming in, and they're preparing for you guys. The weight of your sins are going to be so heavy that you're not even going to fucking care that they're raping you. And they've enslaved you. This is not me. This is what I have been told. This is the intelligence that I have been given. People who abuse children and innocent people the way that you guys have are the scum of the earth, and yet you've had so much power for so long, and we're taking it away, and you want to fucking blame me and hate me, and it doesn't even matter that you're exposing yourself on my social media accounts to the world that you're a pedophile, and you're proud of it. Meanwhile, the people behind me are military intelligence working in a task force that's been fucking at the heart of making sure that you people, every last one of you, are stopped. Well, good on you, man. You guys you're so proud of you putting that GPS in my fucking transmission. Are you fucking kidding me? My phones have fucking GPS trackers. My car have apps on it. Of course, you fucking retards. Excuse my language. Didn't mean to be politically incorrect, but mentally unstable. That's what they kept saying I was. Mentally unstable. The characteristics of someone who's mentally unstable is consistently fighting for the rights of innocent children, consistently standing up, taking care of myself emotionally as an adult, and acting in a way that is in line with dignity and honor. Being a fucking badass and fucking telling you people who you are, no matter how bad it feels to you, no matter what a threat it puts, or the position it puts me in, to have to show you the truth of who you are. I will continue to stand up because that's what kind of human I am. And the world honors people like me. Look at this guy over here. He's listening in real time. Motherfucker, listening in real time. Look at him. Oh, there's just someone at the post office. Oh, fucking. I've seen that guy at least 15 times in the last 2 weeks. I mean, who's the slave when you got these monkeys, 7 of them driving by on cue when I go out and smoke? It's supposed to make me feel like I'm enslaved. You guys are fucking waiting at the corner so you can drive by me when I smoke. That shit is so fucking ridiculous. It is a mental illness what you people are doing. All for what? So you can continue to rape children freely? That's what this is about. That's what this is about. So, sorry, I don't take medication. And there's no medication that can shut the truth up. And there's no medication that's going to fucking change the truth of who you fucking are and how the world sees you. And how ultimately you see yourself. And you've tried so fucking hard to externalize and role reverse destinies with me. Motherfucker, I'm your fucking greatest consequence. I'm the Avenger, bitches. Why don't you cut that up and put it in one of the mixes that you post on my my Facebook account. But my Facebook is pristine. I'm a badass bitch, man. People know me. I'm talented. I'm smart. I stand up. And you guys took over my accounts and tried to fucking make me into some fucking lunatic who lost their mind. Everybody's gonna find out what really happened. And frankly, I don't care. Because you know what? I prioritize what's really important. The safety and welfare and future of my children and me is far more important than all the fucking bullshit you're doing to try to sabotage me. Because ultimately, the echo chamber isn't going to justify your fucking smear campaign and the narrative you guys designed to have me take the fault for the crimes committed. You're fucking living in a delusion. Not only do I have several copies of all that was documented for those 8 years, intelligence has everything. So even if you guys hack the court records and hacked my medical records, military intelligence has been very closely involved for quite some time. So, you know, the effort makes you feel better and delays you thinking about what you could actually do to make changes and not end up being executed by the other prisoners who are gonna fucking just unleash their hatred onto you as a pedophile entering prison. Because mind you, your convictions are all written up. Everybody who's committed a crime, it's already been written up. How do I know this? Oh, I forgot. I didn't disclose.